today we're unboxing Ardennes 44, the Battle of the Bulge from GMT and from game designer Mark Simonich. This is part of his Zokbon series system. It's really not a cohesive system, but they all have very, very similar mechanisms, mainly the Zokbon system, which has your zone of control, but also has these bonds that come out from it that inhibit or restrict movement and other things. And part of the series that I have is Ukraine 43 and Stalingrad 42 are the two other ones that I have from this system. Some people call them the 4X because they're all in the 40s, because they're primarily dealing with World War II. Now, why Ardennes? Why did I get a Bulge game? I mean, there's tons of Bulge games out there. I've looked at my collection. I really don't have a lot of them at all. I don't have any of the main ones in there. And there's been this kind of a recent renaissance of Bulge games. I mean, we have the Deadly Woods coming out from Revolution. That's just coming out now, I think. A Time for Trumpets is a huge Munster Bulge game from GMT. World War II Commander, which was a little bit more simplified version of the Bulge, covering the whole campaign on one map, on a mounted map, and that was from Compass. And then you had like 1944 Bulge from Worthington, which was even probably a little bit more simplified version of the Bulge. So, Bulge games have been around for a long time. There's a lot of them. Everybody has their favorites. I didn't really have one in my collection, and this one is considered, I think, one of the better ones out there. I do like the system. I like the Zokbon system. I'm familiar with that rules and some of the other aspects that go along with that, so I thought this would be a no-brainer to get into. Let's look at the back of the box here. This talks about complexity is 6. Solitaire suitability is 7. I don't think it has a dedicated solitaire. It's mainly you're going to play both sides. And if you're familiar with the Simonich Zokbon system, I mean, the counters are going to look similar. The map is, of course, the Ardennes. Let's tear into this bad boy and see what we have. This is the... This is the 3rd edition, maybe, or the 3rd printing. I don't know if they really changed stuff in editions over time. But I wanted to see what we have here. Nice, sturdy GMT box. And you got your typical Roger McGowan box cover there. Good art there. You get 2 dice, black and white. You get a rule book, which is 32 pages long, but you got an expanded sequence of play on the back here. You've got an index. This is the 3rd edition. There's 3rd edition changes to it. And so here's some scenarios. So it looks like maybe 28 pages of actual rules. Dual column, typical GMT format, color. Looks like you got some examples of play in there, or examples of some of the rules, which I always like. And, I mean, this is not a simple Bulge game compared to some of the ones that have been coming out, but it's not, I don't think this is a Time for Trumpets either. This isn't the magnum opus of Bulge games as far as complexity, and it's, doesn't have as many counters, and the map is not as big, so it's, I don't think this qualifies as a Munster, but that's up for other people to debate. Here's your playbook. You normally get a rule book, and then you get a playbook, and the playbook's going to have, like, designer notes in it, talking about the different editions, 2nd edition, 3rd edition, and then there's an extended example of play in here. So this is going to help you with setup and talk about how play works. And there's a certain amount of chrome in this one. I mean, you have your typical Zokbon system, but there's you know, issues dealing with the roads and roadblocks, and, you know, movement or night staging and stuff like that. So there's quite a bit of I think, additional Chrome that you might not see in some of the other games in this series. However, I mean, each of the series kind of has rules specific to that theater or to that engagement. So the map here, I'm not going to get the whole map on the board, but it's a paper map. And here's the top side of it, I believe. So you get to see some of the map here. Okay, and then we got, let's look at the other side of it here. Yeah, I think this is probably the bottom half of it. Don't know exactly where north is facing on this necessarily, but here you go. Just getting a view of the map here, see if I can recognize anything right off the bat. Okay, then you get counters. So looks like we get 3 counter sheets here. So here are the American forces and the British. Then we have the Germans. And then we have some more counters and then some administrative or marker type counters. Double-sided. And some bridge. You know, there's some, again, the road network and the bridges and some of the night turn type stuff for the Germans is a little bit different than I think what is in some of the other parts of this series system, whatever you want to call it. Here's a player aid. It's a fold out, so 4 pages. You got your combat results tables, summary of it, shifts, firefight. This is pretty nice, pretty clear. Some more defensive artillery, determined defensive table, okay, all that kind of stuff. Determined defense, that's something that's kind of similar in the system as well. I don't know if it's doing the same here, but that affects like retreats and stuff, and that's in the other Zachbon games, or at least in some of the ones I've played. Summary advanced table, summary game markers. So it's pretty nice here. So there's a road bonus. You know, again, roads are pretty important in this game. And here's your terrain effects chart that you have there. Let's see what else we have in here. We've got another one of those, which is identical. And then we have, whoops. Then we're going to have our order of battle. So it'll help you set up. Here's the Allied order of appearance. Here's the German order of appearance card. Less units, probably because most of them probably are on the board. And so the Allies generally in this engagement start off the board and rushing to the defense of that line. And the Germans are there, and they don't get as many reinforcements over time. Here's your turn track. So as I said, there's an AM and PM turn, remnant counters, a little bit of the weather there. And then here's a turn record track for a Patton's counterattack scenario and the extended campaign. So you have 2 different, maybe this is just the regular game, and then you have the extended campaign, and then you have this Patton counterattack scenario as well. Looks like it starts later, so it looks like it's, let's see, the 22nd to the 30th, and this one is the 16th to the 26th. With Christmas right there. So that is what you get in a box of Ardennes 44. Some people consider it one of the premier Bulge games. I needed to have one for my collection, and I'm looking at the other ones that are coming out, and they kind of interest me. But this one seemed to fit a lot of the things I'm looking for. I don't want too much complexity, but I do like enough Chrome to give you a feel for the theater and the engagement. I don't want so many counters that they're unmanageable, because I end up playing a lot of these games solo. So just don't want to undertake something that's going to sit on a table for, you know, weeks to not months at a time. I want to be able something I can get into, move counters around, and get it played through and figure out, get a good feel for it. And I think this one fits that a little bit more. The newer ones that have that are a little bit more simplistic or abstract or kind of look at it at a higher level, I mean, those look interesting as well. Might be able to get those to the table more, but this one I felt deserved my attention. So hopefully this was helpful. If you like it, please like. If you want to find out what's coming out next, please subscribe and click the bell. Love to hear your comments. Love comments. What do you think about this game? What do you think about Bulge games in general? I put up what's your go-to Bulge games on Cosm World community. Take a look at that. Vote on that. Comment there as well. That's a really good site. But comment on this. What do you think about this? What do you think about the games that are coming out? Do we have too many Bulge games? Or is this the best? Or what's the problems with this one? Or what is the best one? Love to hear your comments. Start a discussion. As always, thank you for watching.